Forgiveness. Vivian Paley. Rainey has begun to make a collage as a present for Leo Leone. It is already larger than the one she has made for her father, but is similar in design. After a half hour of working by herself, she invites everyone to participate, and the proposed gift quickly engulfs the table, layer upon layer of paper, cardboard, plastic, and wood, bound in tape and string, overlaid with glue and paint. The word chaos comes to mind. Mrs. Ruperl's son is going to need that table for a math game, I say, probably early tomorrow. It's not finished, moans Renee. She is no longer working on the project, but doesn't want it to end. She walks around the table, gazing proudly at this unstructured communal labor of lovely mess, the unrivaled focus of the room. You'll all have to finish by the end of today, is my firm response, so it can dry overnight. The gift is taken on a dreamlike quality. No one seems to wonder how such a massive structure can be sent to Leo Leone, far away in his village in Italy. Nisha moves us into the block area to continue an ongoing math activity using blocks of different sizes. Now, yesterday we pretended there was a family of 10 small blocks, and then along came, out of the corner of my eye looms the sign of impending disaster. Oliver! I cry out. No, wait, Oliver, don't sit there. Oliver, no! Is it possible he doesn't see what's on the table? Reaching for a marker, his sleeve meets a glob of purple glue, that immediately splatters on his pants as he attempts to shake off the paint. Gasping in horror, he begins to scream, grabbing the edge of the newspaper and pulling the construction after him like a tidal wave. It misses him by inches, and his hysterics increase to a deafening pitch. Renee is there before I am. I hate you, Oliver, she shouts, shaking his arm, determined to make him answer. Why did you do that? Bad boy. Why did you spoil everything? You're never going to be my friend. I'm not playing with you, Oliver. Not ever again. His head bobbing in fear. He wrests himself away and runs to his hideout. Renee does not follow. She begins to weep quietly. I put my arm around her. I'm sorry, Renee. I should have warned him. He got so scared when the paint got on him. Why is he like that? Renee asks, as if realizing for the first time that he's like that. She sits on my lap, and we listen to Oliver, hidden in the corner, still crying. Sorry, I'm sorry. Don't say you're sorry. His voice trails off into a whisper. Renee, won't you tell him you're still his friend, please? Oliver doesn't understand what just happened. He'll keep crying if you don't forgive him. Can you do that for him? She puts her arms around my neck and closes her eyes while I sing softly to her. Go tell Aunt Rhody, go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody her old gray goose is dead. The children gather around us, sad-eyed and weary. When I stop singing, Renee slips off my lap and walks to Oliver's hideout. Kneeling low, will you want to be Richard Rabbit? She asks Oliver. You want me to be Sweetheart? Oliver seems to hold his breath, then crawls out. Don't forget, you have to cover me up then, because I'm a baby. Richard, that was just born, he says. They stand, and Renee holds Oliver's hand. She leads him slowly to the doll corner. Of such is the path to redemption. The next day, Renee tells me she's doing a story for Oliver. Once there was a rabbit Sweetheart and a baby Richard. He didn't have a mother, so Sweetheart was his mother and also his sister. Then he cried and cried because he was tired, so she put him down to sleep, and in the morning he was a prince. Well, when we were ready to act out our stories, Renee takes Oliver by the hand and brings him to the rug. We're doing the Sweetheart stories, she says. Wait till it's our turn, okay? Something tells me there may be some major disappointments for Renee. Having forgiven Oliver for yesterday's rather scary incident, she now seems to feel a new sense of responsibility toward him. All morning, she has been bringing him things and asking him to play, most of which he has ignored or said no to, preferring to draw instead. Now, however, she has put herself in charge of Oliver, or at least has organized his rabbits into a very different sort of story. Perhaps she has forgotten that Oliver would never change Richard into a prince. His characters remain the same, always. Your story, Renee, I call out, and she pulls Oliver with her to the center of the rug. This is a good story, she tells him, because you turn into a prince. And as I begin to read, Oliver emits a low hum that quickly changes to a loud buzzing noise. He covers his ears and the buzzing becomes a roar. Bewildered, Rini yells at him to stop, but he will not cease until I go to him and hold him in my arms. The story is done. Why won't he let me do my story? Rini asks me when Oliver has returned to his corner table. I guess he just can't let someone else have Sweetheart and Richard, I say. You can play it in the doll corner, but you can't write it down. Do you mind very much, Rini? Rini stares at Oliver, whose marker is moving faster across the page than I've ever seen. Well, he can't be like Leo Leone, then. Not if that's the way he has to be. Oliver might change as he gets older, I say, but Rini takes no comfort from this possibility. Clearly, it's easier to forgive some people than to remake them in your own image. Later at lunch, Rini still ponders the Oliver enigma. Now he's reminding me of that book about the mice with those big masks, she says. I didn't know this book was in here. I forgot. You know, the one with the big masks, she says, pointing to our most recently painted poster, the Green-tailed mouse. Which part does he remind you of, I ask? About the scary masks. What's that holiday? Mardi Gras. Oh yeah, they keep on those big scary masks so long they even scare in their own self, and they forget it. They're just little mice. So then a little mouse comes, and he doesn't have a mask on, so they think he must be a giant because he's the same size as they is. And Oliver, well, see, he forgets he's only a little boy in this room because he keeps thinking he lives in another place, so that scares him.